right, so we begin another broadcast in the great journey of the Makers Movement. I am here looking over my topic list for videos. I went back and am working up a nice list of things to talk about with you guys topically moving forward. I can see getting us up to, hang on, let me fix your lens here real quick. I can see getting us to, oh wait, first things first. It's time for coffee. Let's have a cup. For connectivity issues. First we take the first cup and we pour it back. It's not hot enough. Party foul? Definitely. Dude, I am so bummed about connectivity issues. Friends, this is just how it is. I have there's only one internet provider here and they're at 5 megabytes per second on upload. And that's just how it's going to be for forever. I can't be a Twitch streamer. I could shoot this thing. I'll try turning on Wi-Fi. Some days it do be like that. I'm down here turning on my lighting. So remember the other day, I was dialing in my lighting. By the way, I really don't like that I have these are my factory board models up on the wall here that I did back in 2008. They are not like my favorite thing about skateboards and skateboard making. They're not. But I needed to put them somewhere where they wouldn't get hurt. I'm not sure I picked the right place, but I did what I did. Darn it. I said what I said. I'm taking down this chair that I've been working on restoring, and I'm going to put it on top of this dehumidifier that I'm throwing out. It's funny, I have one dehumidifier I've owned and operated down here for many, many years, and it's still going. It's rusty and gnarly. The other one is pretty new, and it pooped out and started popping my ground current flow interrupter and doing a whole bunch of shenanigans electrically. And finally, I began to fiddle with it, and it began to give me the smell of roasted resin and burning parts. So I think a burning smell is a pretty good indicator that you've reached the end of the life cycle of a tool. I'm not down for that. So here we are together. And I just wanted to talk about today's topic is going to be topics. I have been compiling a list of topics that I'm pulling from our comments and commentary. And I'm going to be really dedicating these coffee times to the discussion of things we're already writing about on the Makers Movement. Now, I don't feel defensive or afraid about it. I should. Anytime you say something, it can cause controversy, but I don't feel apprehensive about it because I can see the level of civility and respect that exists in the Makers Movement. And for those of you who are not members but get to watch all this happening, there's a reason for that. You're not a member. Usually a person does not get membership in the Makers Movement because they're not making skateboards. And that's the fundamental organizing principle of the Makers Movement, is that you're making skateboards. So you may be super enthusiastic about making skateboards, and you may wish that you were able to post because you might see things that you think are super cool going on and want to play. I feel for that. I feel very sympathetic to that disposition. I think that's awesome that you want to help out and be part of the conversation. Sorry, I'm fussing with the AV tech right now. Why is that? Why is that way? I guess that's that way because that's the way that's gonna be. Sorry, friends. I'm not really. This is how it's gonna be, buddies. We're gonna be low speed, high drag for a long time, friends. We are, especially with a 5 megabyte per second upload rate. We're not gonna be moving at breakneck speeds down here. I really do want to move into these topics and work through some of them. I have a good list. Didn't bring the iPad down because it's so dusty down here and it's my only almost computer piece of tech. I do have a complaint I'd like to share with all of you. It really takes a lot of tech to do this sort of thing, and I'm only going to use my iPhone. That will be one of the hallmarks of this effort until it isn't. And having done a few things before, I'm not looking forward to choking myself up with a bunch of expensive and complicated, sophisticated things and software and stuff, even though I could see a green screen and some commentary videos. I could see a greater broadcasting presence coming out of this. I can, because I have a lot of things to say. I'm very outspoken, and I feel that a lot of my perspectives are contributory toward the development of good things for people. So I'm not shy to say that. Hey, Johnny Manic, thanks so much for encouraging me. It means a lot. Johnny writes, the iPhone is working fine, looks good, sounds good, keep these rolling. I think that is really where I'm at. Kind of listening to Gary Vaynerchuk, who I don't ever listen to, but really, good morning to you, Johnny. Johnny, are you behind those skateboarding instructional skate park vids? Because I watched one yesterday and it hit my brain that that's you. You're behind that. Is that you, buddy? I'll let that question lie for you to answer and comment. But we have got a good little stew of topicals, and I'm going to be hitting them. I will establish and reestablish, clarify and trim my intention. I'm going to take these off because they're doing a lot of glare. Oh, why not leave them on? I should be wearing sunglasses. That's one of your buddies. Yeah, those skateboard instructional videos are they're superb, dude. I watched the one that was about going up a curb, clacking up a curb and doing a nose stall. And I just love the attitude of those. Such a good beginner's video, great for adults and kids alike. And I got really stoked on that. You let your buddies know that I just think they're doing a terrific job. And thanks on behalf of old guys who also, it's somehow drags up in me those great memories of the 1980s when I learned to first go up a curb, and it was a big, big deal. But let me take a second and step back a moment and let you friends know. Let's talk together about what I'm going to be doing here, because what I'm not doing, we're going to talk about what I'm not doing. Hang on, left my coffee over here. I'm always disappointed that everything's backward on these. Today's coffee cup, I noticed that I don't have enough coffee cups to do every day a new one, but look at that. It's the Alamo. We got this in San Antonio at the, when we went to the, we visited the Alamo. I am not interested in creating definitive videos. How to is not what I'm doing. I want to distance my efforts here in the Makers Movement from how-tos. These are not how-tos. One of the things that really impeded me when I was discovering how I would make skateboards was how-to videos. And even to this day, you can find how-to videos that actually narrow and limit you. So what I'm interested in is not how to this, that, and the other thing. I will show you how I do that. That's all I can do, is discuss with you how I discovered a way to do something. Many times, my way of doing it won't work for you. Many times, my way of doing it will not produce the result that you need to produce. My results, I accept a lot of, well, I've called it wabi-sabi, but we could be less generous than that, and we could call it kind of what it is. I do kind of crappy work on certain aspects of my board making, and I think you can tell I'm fine with that. I really am. And I think it's profitable for you to enjoy watching how I do it, so you can go and discover how you want to do it. Give you a little starting point. And that's where I want to make a distinction between my efforts and the how-to stuff. Now, if you're doing how-tos, do this, then do that, then do that. Can I just be honest? You have more discipline than I do, probably more intelligence than I do, and thank you for doing that. A lot, I'm coming off like I have a chip on my shoulder about how-tos, and there is a thing I said, and I meant it. But honestly, I also, hey, like, I'm a mess. I don't know. We'll see how well I can do it step by step. But I love diving into a point of process with you and taking you into that point of process and exploring what's going on in there, and then finding things we can take away and bring to our own operations. So that's one value, is it's not as much how to as how do I. And the second value is I am committed to sharing lo-fi, low-tech approaches to board making that will put you on your feet, making decks that you can get up to a certain quantity. Like my little workshop here, even with 2 presses, I've had as many as 5 and as few as 0, but 1 when I started. And with 2 presses, the mathematics on it, if demand is established, and I don't have to do a ton of promotional work, then I can produce out of this workshop a lot of boards per month. I could make probably $4,000 a month for my family out of these 2 presses if demand were established. And that's a big if. Demand was rising well when I mothballed my business, but I mothballed it because I had no local business, and that's kind of what I was living for. I wasn't living to reach out nationally and internationally and connect. That way, I wanted to run a local brand that could really be something that people were excited about together. I thought my backyard would be filled with sessions and having fun. I thought my social media would be blowing up with local stoke, but I'm an outspoken man in an area of the country where there are a lot of very important lessons to be learned. And when I spoke out on some of those lessons, it really clipped the wings of my ability to move around locally. And so I lost that back all the way in 2013-14. And from 2014 to 2019, the business blew up by knowing you guys and by like that, but I had to trim it back. But I remain really invested in this idea, and this is what has driven me back into my workshop. There's very few things are more fun and satisfying than riding a skateboard and learning how to do things on them. Making skateboards is really fun too. Maybe more fulfilling in some ways. But having a part in the development of a skateboard maker, there is what I consider a high ambition. Like helping someone start doing that makes me feel super excited, because when I die, and I will, it would be so cool to have given away what I have and what I know, understanding that what I have and what I know are nowhere near what you'll know and what you'll have. I really think a lot of people are going to go really far with this, and I suspect indications are that I'll remain in relative obscurity. At least I'll say this: you can't tell the future. I have no interest in predicting it, but indications, I'll tell you, I'd be content to live in relative obscurity and like that if I had the satisfaction of seeing you guys growing and doing where there was none before. Because I remember when there was just what was on the wall, and it was formative for me that the experience of shopping at what was our cultural hub was, if I wanted something that was not what was on the wall, because I always wanted something a little bigger, a little older. I was 10, 15 years older than everyone in the early 2000s, late 90s. They actually used a little bit of enforcement tactic against guys like me. And I had no problem hanging in there, but I watched a lot of tender-hearted, very important people who were very tender-hearted kind of have to turn away. And it didn't sit well with me, because I see skateboarding as a fundamentally anti-suicide. It's like incredibly therapeutic, and I didn't like seeing that therapy compromised in so many people's lives. That really rankled me. And especially in my area of the country, you really had a strong push to keep out the kooks. So I was outspoken about that. But with you guys here, what we're doing is we're doing low tech. So I'm going to be working with these ideas, and as you guys share, I mean, last week we went into a whole thing about a mold problem and some delaminating. And I laid out everything I knew and everything I experienced and everything I handle, and I'm certain that it was helpful to someone. But it wasn't helpful to the original poster, Ryan Hall. Ooh, Ryan, love seeing all those boards you make on your walls. Love that you're pressing boards, because Ryan is using an airbag press with a single mold. So none of this mold alignment might be the problem stuff applied to Ryan. I didn't mind. Wasn't embarrassed at all that I had missed that. I'm going to miss a lot of things, but what I came away with, well, it's great. We're talking to each other. We're growing. We're learning. And it was good for somebody, maybe. And if it wasn't good for somebody else, it was good for me. Because in these days, there's an isolation and a vulnerability we have where, I mean, you know, like, we're really in an interesting time with all the stuff going on. People feel very isolated because of all the competing ideologies and things that are going on. And, oh, buddies, I just get to unplug and talk to my friends. And I am so grateful for that experience. It's a very grounding experience for me, even though it's ephemeral. We aren't actually at the table with each other, but giving what I got to you guys is super good for me. Bacon is good for me. I found out some guys up in Indiana, they like to take clips off my videos and make like anti-Lou Ross videos. Somebody sent them to me and we're like, whoa, these guys are blowing it. Meanwhile, I'm watching the videos and it's like they'll clip every time I vape. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a clown. I'm a douche, whatever, moving on. It really doesn't bother me. It makes me it's kind of the same coin. Like there's people that like what you're doing, people that don't like what you're doing. And either way, it's connection. It's connection to people. You're connecting with people even when they're sort of crapping on what you're doing. But that's all right. That's connection, And I don't feel defensive about that. That's not the kind of thing that ever bothered me. In fact, I liked it the more it happened. It kind of ended because I always speak rationally and stay on topic. But the things that bothered me were the getting surrounded by 15 guys, having an old pro from San Francisco trying to beat you up at a skate park. That stuff happened to me, and that was really tough. Hey, Thomas Sermon, you got a job making skateboards in High Point, North Carolina. That's awesome. Are you working for Butch over there? Is that where you're working? I am stoked on that, and I'm stoked on Cameron Noren, who got a job at Watson. And I am so stoked on you youngsters getting into the factory industry. I can't tell you how excited I am for you. Wear your mask. Silicosis of the lungs is a thing. Carver and Stone, awesome. Awesome. Those are new operations then. I'm so stoked for you guys. Well, my guy, well, we have a lot to talk about. We've used up our coffee time together. Remember the Alamo, and I'm excited about you guys making skateboards, but I did want to say this. My intention is not only to share how I do it and stimulate discussions that way, and not only to create, you know, maybe like a satisfaction. You don't have to be quiet. It's fine. Sermon, you hit it. Maybe to have the satisfaction of seeing other ops go out. I want to start to travel out to you and do videos with you in again, those would be edited videos and really profile what you're doing. The problem is I'm not platformed. I don't have an effective platform in the social media realm. It just isn't there. So I would have to figure out how to get like a little bit, maybe you are, maybe it'll, you know, I don't know, we'll see. But it is my intention to travel out to some of you that are within relatively good reach. I ride old school motorcycles, not super old school, but like 90s era motorcycles out for, I ride to Texas. I could see Colorado. I really don't want to ride over the Rockies, but doing videos with folks, and who knows if the platform can happen, I can grow. I'd like to help create the demand and get the marketing taken care of for you guys, so that your stuff sells. Even if you're only selling 10 boards a month, I'd like that to be taken care of. One thing I wish would happen is I wish that I wish the old way worked. It doesn't work anymore, especially not for makers in most places. If you are in an area where your local, you know, the old school network of your shop is working for you and they're selling and moving and pushing your brand, man, that is an awesome thing. So that is most places not the case. And I'm not mad about it. It's not like I'm picking fights with shops, although shops have had a lot to learn for a long time, and it's tough. I know some of you guys are shop owners and you're doing it right. I think of Jerome. I know that over in the Netherlands it's also a different scene. Europe's shops are healthier. We'll talk about it again some other time. We've gone over time. Remember the Alamo. It's your friend Lou over here. Thanks for spending time with me. And I will catch you either today again or tomorrow again, because we have coffee. That's what we do.